Now I want to expand on the idea of the sacredness of money and just look in general at the material versus the spiritual. And I want to start with my definition of spirituality because, well, without a definition, then you don't really know who I am. And I don't even really like using the word that much because there's so many definitions. It kind of loses its meaning. But to me, with what has been afforded to me by the spiritual practices and exploration that I've done is the ability to see my own operating system, like how my thoughts and feelings are constructed, to be able to see better how my own body is constructed. So you can see that as I work through my spiritual processes, and again, over the past 25 years, I'm a slow learner. Uh, but where have I gotten to with that? Well, to the point where I'm able to see myself more from the perspective of the creator as opposed to the perspective of the mind. Because my mind, our minds are really just one aspect of this whole amazing creation. And yet, when we look out at the challenges in the world, you can see that almost all of the problems in the world are caused by a mind-centric, a solely mind-centric approach to reality. And that's a very weak approach, and it leads to a lot of pain. And the idea that somehow the world would be better if we could get rid of some other person, some other species, and it leads to that kind of, so the mind is for our survival. That's why it's important to love our mind and respect it for that purpose. But when we look at everything as a war, well, then we get war because we create from our state. And this is the outcome. When we're creating from the mind exclusively, we're going to create problems. When we create from peace, from commitment, from these parts of our consciousness that are not of the mind per se. And again, these are kind of technicalities because, right, we're all one. And yeah, that's true. But for to help us really see that, it's helpful to have a paradigm and just notice that the mind exists in the realm of consciousness and that there are other aspects of consciousness that might be better used for some of the problems that we're facing that we want to solve in our own lives. So back to material versus spiritual. Well, to me, the material creates an opportunity to access the spiritual. As soon as we say that the material is not sacred, is not of the creator, well, I just don't see how you could say that. You can explain, but I think that if we look at all of the powerful traditions like the chakra system, whether that's in Hinduism, the Vedas, or even Judaism has a chakra system about our bodies, and they correspond to the earthy as well as the eternal. The crown chakra, and how babies are born with this hole in their head called the fontanelle. And it's such an amazing set of concepts designed to try to help us enjoy this time on earth rather than have it just be a living hell. So that's what I'm talking about here. I think that when you can make peace with your mind, I got a question from a woman in the comments saying, she's trying to push back the mind because it's telling her stuff she doesn't want to hear. And I said, I don't recommend that. I recommend that you say to your mind, I love you. Thank you for keeping me alive. If you're alive today, it's because your mind did its job to keep you safe. But is it really going to help you with the big questions that you have, or, you know, succeed in your business or have great relationships. Not by itself. You know, the mind is good for language. It's good for doing math problems. Um, it has so many aspects that matter. But when it comes to really making sense of the world, it's very limited because it only understands what it learned from the world. Whereas your intuition and the aspects of your consciousness that tap directly into the eternal, they have a different kind of wisdom. And when you start accessing that, that's when life really gets fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and give it a like, subscribe, and post any comments or questions below.